everyone, Maurice and welcome to Invest. We talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's video, it is 10% only. The investment talk for today would be Ethereum and Bitcoin respectively. So I'm going to do two videos for the respective cryptocurrencies. And with respect to the whole sell-off that we're experiencing as of this morning, as I'm recording around 9 a.m., with respect to Ethereum's down about 11% so far, and Bitcoin's currently down about 7% so far. To the macro sell-off that we're experiencing in the crypto market today, in addition to the two catalysts, one is the James Bullard article on this depictions on the inflationary outlook, and the Wednesday catalyst with respect to the FOMC meeting coming from Jerome Powell. We have a third negative catalyst as of today, coming directly from China on its intensifications of the crackdown of crypto mining. So as of today, more than 90% of China's mining capacity is estimated to be shut down at this very moment. Okay, and with many Bitcoin mines in areas like Sichuan and Mongolia and the Yunnan regions of China were shut down by authority in the southern western regions of China's province, ordered them to halt crypto mining. Okay, and the reason for halting or stopping this or shutting down these facilities is mainly driven by the growing concern that's been cultivating for a while on the thesis of the massive energy consumptions that you need to cultivate Bitcoin. And separately, China's central bank said that on Monday in the official announcement that it has summoned Alipay as the official payment solution run by Alibaba, the affiliate of Ant Group, and some other major banks, urging them to crack down on crypto mining as well. Okay, as a macro level in China, the whole overall economy has already banned all the financial institutions from providing crypto-related services as well. What's the rationale behind all this environmental efficacies or energy conservation all in a sudden coming from China, right? So at a conceptual level, Bitcoin as a fundamental asset is decentralized, right? And what it means is that it doesn't require any central party, a middleman like a bank to approve transactions or generate new coins, right? But instead it uses blockchain technology to maintain by these so-called miners who race to solve these complex mathematical algorithm puzzles using these purpose-built computers to validate these transactions, right? So on a high level, in the most rudimentary perspective, basically these miners are these computer coders, and they're using these massive computers, which requires a lot of power for you to generate and propel these computers to solve these math questions, right? And whoever can solve these math questions the fastest get rewarded with these bitcoins or these cryptocurrencies, depending on which one you're trying to cultivate, right? So obviously with these massive computers and these technology to propel, the massive power-intensive process has led to growing concerns over the potential environmental harms of Bitcoin, right? From everyone from like Tesla CEO Elon Musk has already depicted for us earlier with his potential, not utilizing Bitcoin as a form of payment, to US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen raising that alarm as well. Just to break it down in more of a secondary level, in a more rudimentary perspective, like why is using electricity a bad thing? Why is that raising an environmental concern? And why is that coming from China? In a relative speaking, in a geographical perspective, right, US electricity is mainly cultivated or generated from nuclear power plants, in addition to like solar energy, to like turbine power or wind power, if you may. However, in China, in a relative perspective, most of the electricity is cultivated from coal power, right? Which, as you know, coal is definitely a great source of generating electricity in terms of efficacy. However, with respect to the negative, byproduct that it subsequently creates, like air pollutions, industrial excrement, and as you probably know, in China, pollution, or specifically air pollution, is something that is pretty serious, and it's been something that the government has been trying to address for quite some time now, right? And with respect to the major metropolitan areas, before COVID situation, people were wearing masks already, not because of the COVID situation or because they are like germaphobe. It's because the air is just relatively smoggy and very foggy all the time, because of obviously air pollution is pretty serious, right? And if you look at the skyline in Shanghai or in Guangzhou or even Hong Kong sometimes, you see like a smog, across the horizon, across the skyline of a city. And the reason is because the air is that smoggy and that much air pollution in it that people are having respiratory problem, people are having breathing problem, which subsequently can have affectations to the life expectancies in China, right? So the health concern is definitely real, and I understand why that with respect to the direct correlations to Bitcoin mining on the environmental efficacy side perspective, how this could be raising a concern. So knowing the fact that with respect to this third negative catalyst consecutively, for Bitcoin we've broken that resistance level, the $34,500 level, and for Ethereum we've broken that $2,000 level. So I'm gonna go through a technical analysis to see what level should we be looking out for going forward, what are the levels we should be dollar cost averaging at, and my price talk for you in 2021 as well. So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. Moving on to the technical analysis for Bitcoin ticker BTC, you can see that we're currently down about 5.21%, trading around like the $32,816. And just to recap on a recent time frame, where you could see that we had the sell ever since that positive FOMC meeting from Jerome Powell on his depictions around the more of a short-term positive economical outlook going forward, prioritizing on job growth and corporate growth going forward, will subsequently propel the equity portions to go up from here, while in the relative perspective on the anti-correlations between equity and crypto, which subsequently drives himself on the Bitcoin side of the world, right? And also on top of the fact, on Sunday specifically, we got that another article from James Bullard from the Federal Reserve again on his timing on the tapering, right, which he expects a little bit earlier than Jerome's expectations. Jerome's was expecting somewhere around like 2023 or 2022 or latest 2022. But with respect to James, he was expecting a little bit earlier, like by end of this year or early 2022. So the timing is definitely shifted by 1 year in annual calendar perspective, right? Subsequently drove that sell-off. And as of today, another negative catalyst. So it's 3 negative catalysts now. It's 3 consecutive one as well, like day by day by day, that like what's going on, right? That with respect to the Chinese government decide to put a crackdown on the crypto mining, right? On the with the focus on the environmental efficacies going forward, obviously with the coal mining as a source of energy for electricity to propel the mining of Bitcoin, obviously raises a lot of environmental concerns with respect to air pollutions and health safety at the same time, which is also drive a lot more sell-off based on my depictions earlier in this video, right? So it's a recent time frame right now. You could see that we are selling off, and I think we rebounded slightly ever since earlier this morning. We were hitting around like $31,531 at one point, basically correlating with the level that we've had back in June 8th, right? And what I see the price for Bitcoin going forward is that I do foresee us to be selling off a little bit more, knowing the fact that for MACD, we are slowly crossing right now. You could see that the lines basically fused together. We're having a little bit from the apex, and we're gonna separate going forward. And on top of the fact, you could see the separations between the initial crossing to this crossing right now. The duration was a relatively wide one. So I do foresee, just based on logics, right, we need to go down a little bit more to basically match with the comparable level that we had, despite the RSI like kind of oversold, but we're not completely oversold yet. So I do foresee us to be going down a little bit more. Then I think the first resistance level that we're gonna go down to will be somewhere around like the $31,240 level, which I have drew for us that we've tested historically. And with respect to the substantiveness of this level, it's a relatively strong resistance level. We've tested multiple times, like a bunch of times in recent time, but also a bunch of times historically. If I pull back even further, right, and I can show you real quick, right, you can see a bunch of times here before this rally, and also had a bunch of times here before this whole pump up that we got there, right? So I do foresee us to be testing down a little bit more. That's just based on how the chart is set up right now, to the $31,000 level, possibly even break below to the $29,500 level. But I think the likelihood of to get there would not incur like in the next 2 days. I think it will probably take some time until like Thursday or Friday ahead of the weekend again. And with respect to the level of the substantiveness of the 29,500, I think the level of this is relatively shallow. So if we actually break that level of the $31,000 level, or if we break below the $30,000 level, I think we'll have a relatively steep fall all the way back to the $24,500 level. Which for me, I currently hold about 3 Bitcoins at the moment that I'm trying to be a little bit more conservative, of being a little bit more thoughtful in terms of my purchasing. So I would probably wait off until we hit below the $30,000 level, knowing the fact that the chart seems like we are going there based on just how the gap is formed and the cross section going forward as well, cross section that we're forming as well. That the RSI is like submerged, but we haven't rebounded yet. That we should be going down a little bit more. We to the point that we hit the Earth crust and then rebound from there. And we should be scooping somewhere around like the as a first level $30,000 level, and then kind of consolidate. And we have a possibility of like recorrect on the RSI level and then the MACD level. That to the point that we should be scooping back up going forward. But I do foresee us, if we break the $30,000 level, we should be getting down to the 500 dollars level, which to me is a very ideal level to buy at for a long term perspective, right? As the price goes down, the risk actually goes down as well. It doesn't go the other way around. Like people think the opposite way, which makes sense. I get it because you're holding, you bought at a certain price and you feel like you're losing money. But actually, in that relative perspective, as the price goes down, you have to incur less risk to purchase the same asset. So I actually recommend people buying when the price gets lower and lower, contingent on the business fundamentals, right? But Bitcoin has a strong business fundamental, and the value proposition is there, right? A lot of corporations are adopting, and global utilization is just slowly emerging, right? And I would say, today's news from China is definitely concerning, but eventually, this is gonna subside going forward. It's gonna self-correct itself. The government's gonna step up, and corporations gonna cultivate and find the solutions that's gonna work for us going forward to obviously sustain the mining of Bitcoin going forward. It could be a healthier or more environmentally solution, right? Which I know that the Chinese people are resilient, right? And I think globally speaking, there's a lot of corporate backing, a lot of money that's being flowed into it. So it's too late for us to put the genie back into the box, if you may, right? So I do believe in this on a long term perspective. I do love the price point at $24,500 level, and when we get there, I'm probably gonna buy and cultivate my holding to maybe from 3 Bitcoins to 5 Bitcoins ideally, which I think that will be a great level to be for me as an investor for this as a long term perspective going forward. So hopefully this is helpful into giving you more clarity. Again, right, just to recap again, right? First level to look at would be $31,000 level. Second level will be the $29,500 level, which is a substantive, not that substantive level, but if we fall back, we should potentially get down to the $24,500 level, which I will feel very comfortable getting there, and I do see us getting there in a I will say a week or two from now, based on how the chart is set up. Just to recap on all the numbers that we just talked about in the chart, right? I think currently, based on the level that we should be going to, I think $31,500. If we break that, we should be going down to the $29,500 level, right? And again, if we break that level, knowing the fact that we broke the first level of mental resistance, the $30,000 level, to test the 29,500, which we tested, and basically 29,500 if you round it up is basically 30. So that's the level that we've tested historically. If we break that, we're gonna go all the way down to the $24,500 level. So I personally am more comfortable with buying at like around the $24,000 level, and I'm gonna practice patient. I'm not gonna try to chase the pump despite like a little bit more like a small recovery, because based on how the chart is set up right now, the way that we're rebounding right now, we don't have a lot of substance or a lot of ground to hold up against to propel it to go upward from here. Knowing the fact that we have like 3 consecutive negative media affectations already, that the outlooks for the momentum is not the most ideal at the moment, if you may. That on top of the RSI and the MACD, the way it's set up right now, the RSI still has some room to drop. The MACD is slowly crossing down right now. So if for us to go back to scoop it up to rebound, I think to get to the $24,500 will be ideal for us to make that recovery from here. And with respect to my corporate adoption, 10% and 12 months price target, 13,000, 138,000, which is close to the 6 digits mark. Will subsequently generate 4.5x your money if you buy at the current level at the moment. But again, right, I think we should be testing the $24,500 level, contingent on the technical analysis coming into fruition going forward, with no more negative exogenous news or extremely positive news that could influence or form some sort of an outlier into the trends going forward. So hopefully this. All right, so that's it for this. With like my technical analysis on Bitcoin, ticker BTC. Hopefully you guys find this helpful, gives you more clarity and transparency into your price executions going forward. And hopefully this is give you a peace of mind. I know it's scary to see your holdings depreciating over time, but just know that these are black swan events that we don't have any power to foresee, right? These are news media affectation that influence public investors, and obviously when you see these news, you just have to counteract by using your logics and using your analytics to dollar cost average to build your position from there. I think these are God-given type of opportunities for you to dollar cost average. So I'm gonna look forward to waiting until Bitcoin hitting the $24,000 level, or ideally even above that, like maybe $25,000 level to DCA, which as I build up my position to hopefully five Bitcoins going forward from there. So really appreciate you dropping by. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and also that bell notification, and watch our things coming up. Take care.